are back with the Hubscale podcast, where we dive into the minds of security leaders all around the world. This week, we have Richard Seewald, the founder and managing partner of Evolution Equity Partners. They invested in vendors such as Carbon Black, AVG, Venterra, and many, many more. Super excited to dive into all the topics today. Richard, it is great to have you on.
Hey, Elliot, thank you very much for having me today, and really excited about talking with you. And you've done a tremendous job of interviewing some of the leaders in this category, and look forward to diving in deep.
No, appreciate that. Appreciate that coming from you. And I guess for everybody who doesn't know Richard Seewald, it'd be great to give a quick introduction.
Sure. So I'm the founder and managing partner at Evolution Equity Partners. I've been investing in the cybersecurity and enterprise software space over the last 25 years. Fortunate to sit on the board of directors of both public and private companies in this category that have been market leaders along the way. Have worked with some of the leading founders and technologists in this category. And I've seen this segment grow over the last 25 years from a relatively small cottage industry to a booming category that is probably the most important category in software today. And we can talk a little bit about that further down the road.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I'm so excited to dive into these topics today, because I've done many podcasts and we have conversations with founders and CEOs all the time. And some of these topics are super, super important as well. So very, very excited about that. But first, let's talk about Evolution Equity Partners. And obviously the founder, and you've built this nearly 14 years now. So tell me more about you guys.
Sure. So I co-founded Evolution Equity Partners together with Dennis Smith. And Dennis Smith and I have been working together over the last 20 years, firstly at AVG Technology as investors and operators and board members, and then as investors. And we launched Evolution Equity Partners to be a growth and early growth stage investor focused entirely on the cybersecurity segment. And we're investing in our fourth fund, the most recent fund, targeted at between 750 and $1 billion. Again, focused entirely on cybersecurity, a team of 25. We have offices in Silicon Valley, New York City, London, and Zurich, and invest primarily in North America, Europe, and Israel, but certainly invest in other geographies where we find interesting companies.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting times for you as a business and the security industry in a whole. It's been, like you mentioned earlier, it's just been crazy over the past few years for sure. But in terms of Evolution Equity Partners, then tell me about the portfolio. And you've had some great exits. You've been working with the best of the best in the industry. So just tell me about the portfolio itself.
Sure. So, our sweet spot is that Series A, B, and C segment where companies are accelerating growth, have mitigated some of that early stage risk, have product market fit, executives in place, are looking to expand internationally. And Evolution Equity Partners is the ideal partner to expand internationally. So whether you're a US business looking to expand into Europe, or vice versa, a European or Israeli company looking to expand into different markets, the team at Evolution has done it itself. So we built a company called AVG Technologies, took that public New York Stock Exchange, and scaled it into a global player. So a lot of the resources that we built as a team over the last 25 years, we now utilize to integrate our portfolio companies into a set of channel partners, customers, human capital around the world that enable companies to scale and grow exponentially in what is one of the fastest growing markets, whether we're talking about North America, whether we're talking about Europe or Israel. That ability to go to market and do it efficiently accelerates the growth of a lot of companies that really want to win in this category.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's definitely something that we're going to touch on later about the go-to-market side of things. But just with Evolution Equity right now, what kind of opportunities are you seeing out there within the security world?
Some of our recent investments reflect what we think are compelling opportunities in the current market. Recently, we led a Series A in a company called Protect AI. Tremendous team based out of Seattle, Washington, that has enormous background in machine learning and AI, leading some of the largest machine learning and AI teams, in the world. And they put together a team, technology, and platform that addresses securing the developer and AI ML builder ecosystem and environment. So think about that ecosystem where engineers are building AI applications and ML systems, and an increasing attack surface where adversarial nation states, hackers, and criminals are targeting that attack surface, in part because of the impact that machine learning and AI now have on a lot of large organizations. So whether those be tier one financial institutions or pharmaceuticals or other companies, all of those organizations are building machine learning and AI into their infrastructure, making it mission critical that it is secured at the very beginning when developers are actually building that infrastructure out. So that's one company that we invested in recently. We also invested recently in a later stage growth company called Arctic Wolf. And Arctic Wolf is one of the leaders in managed detection and response in adjacent segments. Tremendous business. They've been able to address that mid-market to small size company cybersecurity opportunity, and are now prepared to move up market. And they've already done so. Tremendous growth over the last decade. We're proud to be investors in that company. Again, a market leader in its segment. I'll talk about another company that we invested in last year, Talon Cybersecurity. So Talon is the market-leading enterprise secure browser, enabling companies to effectuate safe cybersecurity hygiene for work-from-home employees, as well as situations where acquisitions happen and the acquiring company wants to implement cybersecurity on the fly and very quickly. Talon is positioned extremely well to win in this category, has partnerships with the leading cybersecurity companies in the world, and it's really positioned to manage those unmanaged devices that organizations to have today and secure that endpoint in a way that existing vendors don't do. So those are three that we've done recently. We're looking at opportunities in the AI ML space continually as it relates to security. We're looking at the data segment and how data infiltrates machine learning and AI, in some cases poisoning machine learning and AI algorithms. We're looking at a spectrum of opportunities in the cybersecurity space, both concerning sort of that next generation approach of implementing machine learning and AI, cloud security, and a host of other areas.
It's so exciting, isn't it? There's so much going on in the security market right now. You just mentioned three companies there. Of course, Talon and Offer and the growth that they've had in the enterprise browser space is so cool as well over the past couple of years. So it's super exciting, and honestly, Evolution Equity partners are going to do and continue to do great things as you move forward, Richard. No doubt indeed. I want to go back to what you mentioned earlier about kind of the go-to-market strategy, because we talked about previously before the podcast, a lot of the listeners who are listening to this are either entrepreneurs, early entrepreneurs, or kind of wanting to make that leap. And we was talking about kind of three different buckets on how to build a successful security vendor. One, product; second, go-to-market strategy; and then, of course, hiring. Let's talk about the go-to-market strategy there. You've been involved in this numerous times, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on how to build a successful go-to-market.
I think go-to-market comes down to hiring the right people at the right time that are able to commercialize a product that can scale quickly and can do that systematically in different geographies. That's extremely important when it comes to sort of that traditional go-to-market motion where you're selling to chief security officers or to security teams. The ability to be out there on the ground, meeting people, selling your product, making sure you're partnering with the right groups to be able to effectuate some of that network effect of marketing is extremely important. But I'll also point out there are alternative ways to go to market. We've seen companies like Sneak, one of our portfolio companies, pioneer the product-led growth category in terms of going to market. And there it's about being able to have a product, a primary product that excites engineers or security professionals such that they're utilizing it in a way that becomes mission critical to their day-to-day operations. And then they're going up to the chief security officer and saying, hey, we're already using this tool, this product. Let's take a look at the enterprise version of that and be able to implement that across the spectrum. I'd say with product-led growth, Evolution Equity Partners has a history there. When our partners built AVG Technologies, we were early adopters of the freemium model, that free-to-pay conversion, actually before freemium. We called it free-to-pay conversion, where we were giving away free software at the endpoint and then converting those users into paid users into a more robust product. So the tools, the knowledge, the experience has been on the shelf, for quite a long time. We saw that evolve to kind of the freemium segment, which was the precursor to PLG. So a lot of the lessons learned over the last 20 years were able to utilize with our portfolio companies and helping them with a bottom-up, top-down go-to-market strategy that enables companies to hit the market in a way that's effective and efficient. Now, PLG is not for everyone. Really depends on the type of product that you're taking to market. But that's where we can also help companies not walk down a road that eliminate the need to walk down dead ends and kind of point entrepreneurs toward true and tested ways of accessing that PLG go-to-market, as well as the top-down, the traditional approach. So a lot of the experience that the team has over the last 25 years is a collection. It's a playbook that now we've institutionalized in centers of excellence around cybersecurity growth. And we brought on, one of the stars of early cybersecurity entrepreneurship in Israel, Yuval Ben Itzhak. Yuval was one of the early entrepreneurs in Israel, building firewall companies and segments that later on became large. We met Yuval when he joined us at AVG Technologies. He became the CTO and thereafter became the CEO and CTO of a number of companies. But him, together with J.R. Smith and Carol Obluk, Dennis Smith, Karthik Subramanian, Tahir Al-Gamal, bring tremendous background and experience on the operating side that enable us to deliver those centers of excellence in specific categories: marketing and sales, product and technology, business development, and overall strategy. And when we sit down with companies, typically that discussion is led by someone who's built a career in that individual segment and is able to bring the lessons learned, the mistakes that we've made, overall, bringing together the type of advice and information that companies need when they're going to market.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think you're building a true kind of value system for the startups that you have. And I want to touch on that point a little bit. You mentioned a few really key things there about bringing an expert within a certain specific skill set, right? So just talk to me a little bit about Evolution Equity Partners and what kind of value does it bring to the security ecosystem, just on especially them points you mentioned there.
Yeah, so I think go-to-market is so individual, the type of product that you're building, and tailoring that go-to-market so that it is as effective, as efficient, hits the ground running. I think again the playbook that we've developed enables us to spot areas that perhaps are not as effective and focus on the more effective side. I think that's the experience and the sort of IP on the shelf that we have as a team that enables us to do that. Likewise, going to market requires a network of potential buyers of that product. And we work quite hard on developing a network of companies, chief security officers, and industry professionals that we work together with to bounce ideas off of, introduce companies to, and hopefully bring technology to market that helps those organizations defend and protect what matters most.
Yeah, no, definitely. Super impactful for the entire security industry, which is awesome. And I know we talked about the two buckets there, and you mentioned the go-to-market piece. You mentioned earlier on, firstly, it's about hiring the right people. So in terms of the help and support you give the vendors that you work with, what kind of advice would you give to people going out there and hiring the first CRO, the CMO, and things like that as well?
So if you're an entrepreneur building a cybersecurity company and early stage, and you're looking for that first go-to-market team, make sure that you're accessing the network of your investors. In fact, put together an investor consortia that has that network in place that can lead you towards potential candidates to hire, or even the right organization as an executive recruit that can put you in contact with the right. It just saves you a lot of time and effort, and perhaps some dead ends that you may want to avoid at that point. So having that network in place, whether it's through investors or advisors or others who have navigated sort of those often uncharted waters, you want to make sure you find someone who's navigated those waters and can lead you towards the type of professionals that are going to bring value at the specific area where you are today. So often what we see for seed and Series A companies in terms of go-to-market teams are go-to-market teams that almost exclusively focus on that seed and Series A 1 to 10 million ARR trajectory. And they may have built that across one or two or three other startups and just move on as the company gets larger. I think looking for those experienced teams to bring on board is extremely important. You just save a lot of time and effort in, again, navigating those uncharted waters with people that have done it before.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot, because obviously we all we talk about all day is recruiting and executive search and all that kind of stuff. And finding the right person for the right company is so important. And I think sometimes these searches can take extremely long if you don't have the right partner, you don't have the right network, and you end up hiring the wrong person before you've even got a go-to-market strategy. So it's all about kind of really building that up from the ground up, and utilizing the system that companies and venture firms like Evolution Equity Partners have obviously got, which is awesome. And the last bucket is the product. You mentioned a few companies, the free companies there that got amazing products. So what do you look for on that piece, and what do people need to build these days to become successful?
I think there's sort of the three T's: team, technology, and total addressable market. And that's easily kind of encapsulated in those three T's. But when you're thinking about product, think about total addressable market hand in hand. We see a lot of point solutions, single product companies that, may not be a fit for large expansion, that likely will not exceed that 5 to 10 million of ARR mark. If you're looking to build, a large company and your dream is to take the company public, make sure you've quantified that. In fact, that total addressable market is substantial. And with that, you'll be able to attract the type of team members, the type of staff that, Hubscale can bring, and be able to deliver the type of high quality individuals, because they're sitting there and they're thinking about what their options will be worth down the road, and what their equity and what their effort is going to mean over the next couple of years. So thinking about, total addressable market hand in hand with high quality technology is extremely important. And that's where, right from the beginning, spending the time in assessing market size and assessing the type of technology that will address that market size is extremely important.
I like that a lot because I did a podcast recently with a founder. He's been through two acquisitions and now he's building a company called Discope to go public. It was Demisto and the acquisition, and we were diving through about that. The first two companies he's built were both creating new categories, so nobody knew how big the market was. It was all education and things on those lines. But now he's flipped it. He's going after a bigger problem with a huge total addressable market, but then obviously trying to kind of differentiate in there as well. So I like the points you made there, Richard. I thought it was super cool and a lot to take away from that as well. I want to switch it a little bit as well, because obviously you've spent so much time studying, working with founders and understanding what to look for when making an investment. So I'd love to hear from your side, who's been doing it for so many years. What do you look for when kind of assessing vendors?
Sure. Look, it's really fun to sit down with early stage founders, whether it's seed, Series A, or even at the Series B level, and gauge the level of persistence, grit, must-win attitude in a founding team. I think more than anything, we're investing in the people that are founding these cybersecurity companies. And often the best founders have this proverbial chip on their shoulder that they have to win. They just have to win at all costs. They want to build a market-leading company that dominates a certain category or sector. And I think over the years of interviewing thousands of entrepreneurs and looking at deals, you start to see some pattern of behavior that you can identify. Look, we don't always get it right, that's for sure. But I think that pattern matching over years and years of working with entrepreneurs and being entrepreneurs and understanding the pain points, understanding the challenges that are out there is kind of front row and center when we're assessing founders. So having that persistence, that desire to win, demonstrable evidence of having done that in some way before, and being able to present that to an investor is probably front row and center. That's the first thing that anybody's going to look at. Of course, they're going to look at team and technology and total addressable market. But frankly, if you have great technology and you don't have the persistence to win, great technology doesn't always win the game. It needs to come with that persistence to win.
Yeah, I honestly love it. And it kind of leads on to one of the questions that I wanted to ask you since initially starting the podcast. You've been around so much. What's the biggest learnings you've had, Richard, throughout your career? What's the biggest things that come to mind?
We're the fact that you need to keep on learning. That's the key part of this business. If you are not prepared to be in an environment where you need to dive into a pool that you don't kind of really know how deep it is, and you just need to be able to manage that type of learning opportunity on a day-to-day basis and have the skills to mitigate risk, to be able to assess whether that pool is deep enough or wide enough. To be able to do that systematically is really the art and science of investing in venture capital. It comes down to risk mitigation and learning, and a continuous learning process that you got to love. And I think our team has that. We've worked together for so long, learning together, and we continue to learn together, and that results in attractive returns for our investors. And I'd say anybody entering the venture industry, it's all about that continuous learning process that you are in from day one till the very end.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's what an amazing journey you've had as well, and all the companies you've invested in, all of the things you've learned along the way. You could probably write a book or something, couldn't you?
Yeah, that might be interesting, but so can you. You've done a fantastic job of building exec recruit business that now stretches across several continents, and really in the most important area that attracts people. And being at the forefront of that is mission critical to investors, startups, later stage businesses. You're in the right place and doing a fantastic job. So congratulations to you on that as well.
Appreciate that. Maybe I'll write a book, but maybe in a few years' time. um,
Awesome.
I want to end the podcast on something. This I always ask this to most of the podcast guests, and it takes it back right to the beginning of your career. If you could go back and tell yourself something right at the early days of your career, what would you tell yourself?
Great question. You know what, that all of those learning experiences, whether they're wins or losses, are valuable, because ultimately, when you open up your proverbial book of experience and case studies and track record, all of that plays into the judgment that you bring to the table day to day, making investments, advising entrepreneurs, helping companies scale. So notwithstanding that, early on, you may make some mistakes. Look, those are learning opportunities that ultimately turn into opportunities later, where you're able to point those learnings and mistakes and advise someone not to do that, perhaps, or to move in a different direction. Look, that's always a moving target, but if you make enough mistakes, you're going to learn a lot more and be able to deliver that down the road to another entrepreneur and add value. So it's not only about the wins. You got to have the wins on the board, no doubt about that. But also the losses create the opportunity for education and for that continued learning process.
I love it because I always say, and obviously it's a quote that's everywhere, but you either win or you learn. You never lose. So I like that. I like that a lot. But Richard, honestly, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think it's been really, really impactful to the audience and myself. I've learned a lot as well, which is amazing. So appreciate you coming on the show, and good luck for everything in the future. But where's Evolution Equity? Where's it going to go in the next 10 years, do you think?
We're going to continue investing in the cybersecurity space. We think this industry continues to be mission critical to governments, organizations around the world. We're building a team that addresses that systematically. So you're going to see us investing in this segment over the next decade, and we're going to continue to grow alongside the industry. So, Elliot, thank you very much for having me on board today. It's been great. And again, congratulations on all the success, and we look forward to working together with you.